This is my hobby, the greatest hobby. Hello everyone, back at it again with our Talisman character exploration, and this time we are going to continue inside of our Sacred Pool character exploration. This next character is an insidious master of manipulation, who uses his arcane arts to subjugate the will of others to his own diabolical schemes. The character that I am in reference to is the evil Magus. As I mentioned in my introduction to this character, we are going to be exploring the Magus, who is an evil character who starts inside the city, which is why we have him where we do. He has a strength of 2 and a craft of 4. And as you can see at the bottom here, the little lady that has her arms extended in that circle, that is the symbol of the Sacred Pool expansion. So any characters, any cards that possess this symbol are just simple ways to help you differentiate the Sacred Pool expansion from the base game. So maybe if you're not interested in the Sacred Pool expansion, you're able to separate it from everything else. So that way you can just sort of set it aside. But now let's get into the actual character. So aside from the 2 strength and the 4 craft, he, much like the Dread Knight, has the unfortunate ability of only having 1 fate and an average of 4 lives. But he has 1 additional character ability that I say puts him above the Dread Knight, which I'm going to get into in a bit of a second. Well, let's go ahead and start with this first of 3 character abilities. You begin the game with a spell. So, we have the Magus that begins the game with a spell, and then if you remember from our base game stuff, you have Priest, Prophetess, the Wizard, Sorceress, and the Druid also beginning the game with spells, as well as from the Reaper expansion we have the Sage, who begins the game with a spell. And now we have the Magus, who also begins the game with a spell. And then he, just like the Prophetess and the Wizard, and the Sage, if you do not have any spells at the start of your turn, you may gain 1 spell. The Craft of 4, he already begins the game with a spell, and has the capacity to carry 1 spell. If you remember those conversion charts from the previous videos where I talked about craft and how it pertains to spell carrying capacity. But now we start to get into this 3rd character ability, which makes up the entire core of how successful or how difficult it's going to be as well as the Magus. And that is, whenever you acquire a follower, they become indoctrinated to fight with you during psychic combat. You may use all, none, or some of your followers to fight with you in any psychic combat of your choice. Each follower used in this way adds 1 to your craft during psychic combat. If a character defeats you in psychic combat, you may kill 1 of your followers that fought with you, in addition to his normal reward. So, with that character ability explained, it essentially means the more followers that you're able to find, the more people that you can indoctrinate and force to sort of be your vessels for your psychic capabilities, and that your cunning words and manipulation have created a need to be obedient towards you, to make you the master. So, this character ability, relying on the fact that you need followers in order for this to be successful, can either make or break the character. It has its pros, as in you could build up a lot of psychic combat capabilities to where you could eventually, if you have 9 followers and you have 8 craft, you could attack with a total of 17 in psychic combat plus any modifiers, which would be absolutely fantastic against the Lord of Darkness in the Dungeon expansion. And of course, there's also another character who's very similar to the Magus, which I'll get to a bit later on. But when it comes to the actual Sacred Pool expansion, remember, statistically, there are only 72 adventure cards that are specifically Sacred Pool. So does that mean that you could possibly gain a huge amount of followers that can become indoctrinated and you can use to fight in psychic combat? It is possible, especially with the fact that you also have your own stable deck that consists of various different horses for carrying and that sort of thing. You can definitely purchase those as followers that you can also indoctrinate to fight with you in psychic combat. But just note that any of those characters, or the quantity of characters, you could end up losing them if you lose any psychic combat with other characters. So the Magus is a bit of a double-edged sword when it comes to his playstyle. He's great with craft, he's great with spells, and he's great at gaining a huge amount of craft if he has an army of followers following behind him. But just also be aware that if you lose, you could start losing followers and start losing craft. And that, as you could obviously tell, he only has one fate, which isn't really good for trying to have one shot against the Reaper or one shot against the Blood Moon's werewolf or the Harbinger himself. Or, taking it even a step further, since his whole character ability list focuses on spells and focuses on gaining craft, obviously strength is not his strong suit. He's only got a strength of 2. So that brings him down quite a bit, because his character ability only encompasses craft. It only encompasses the ability to fight in psychic combat. You gotta watch out for all these other expansion characters, even in this expansion, who tend to fight with strength more so than psychic combat. But overall, I definitely want to say, when it comes to tier list with just the Sacred Pool characters, and towards the end, I'm going to probably do a tier list encompassing all 69 characters inside a Talisman. And this is not including the digital edition stuff that you might find online. It's just the physical game tier list and who I think belongs in that spot. I'll definitely get into that later on. But when it comes to Sacred Pool, I want to put the Magus definitely in 3rd, if not possibly 2nd place when it comes to character ranking. Just to give you guys a sort of idea of if he comes up, if you manage to build yourself enough craft to find objects that can help you with craft, especially in the city expansion. There's a psychic wand that can allow you to attack using your craft. That would be a very useful object for the Magus. It's definitely something that you want to consider in that regards when you're thinking big picture. But more so playing to the Magus' strengths too. Just knowing that you're going to be vulnerable against strength-based stuff, or against other characters who generally use strength. But other than that, hopefully you found this video useful, and I'll see you guys in the next one.